Ages ago, we were banished by our kin. In fear and shame, they turned their backs on us, closing the door. We survived on a world gone mad by embracing the madness. Thus, shadow and silence became our allies, and they made us strong. Now the time for payment of ancient debts has come. The price will be high, and we will be paid in full.
Hello guys, and welcome to a new Endless Legend campaign playing as the Forgotten. Today we're going to be starting a new one. The last one I did was with the Broken Lords. If you'd like to check that out, please check a link in the description. But in this one, we're playing as the Forgotten, and they are the latest addition to Endless Legend. Came out in the Shadows expansion. I haven't really played the game since the expansions came out. I'd played the original game when it was released. I did the Broken Lords campaign, and then since then I haven't necessarily really touched on it. I've ramped up the difficulty for this one. We are playing it on hard as opposed to normal, which I did in my last one. But I kind of feel like that might be a bad idea because I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to pull off a hard campaign just yet, considering I've completely forgotten most of the campaign mechanics and so on. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. But I have had a little play around with the Forgotten in another sort of playthrough, just had a quick look at them to see how they work, so I do know a little bit about them. They're mainly in a sort of espionage kind of faction. They rely on stealth a lot and so on. They can pillage, all this kind of stuff, and it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this nation or faction and trying out what they can do. But first of all, let's find a suitable place for our first settlement. Let's turn on the tile output and split up our forces. So this guy's gonna travel up here, and already, wow, that is a really nice place to settle. You've got the oasis, you've got the clay, and there's also the escaped specimens and the steel stalks. Now, that's another thing I mustn't forget to mention, is for those of you unfamiliar with Endless Legend, or unfamiliar with the Forgotten, they don't use science, so we have to buy our technologies with dust, and that can be both a benefit and sort of like a negative thing, because if you focus on dust production, you can go for a science victory, and that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. I think that's quite an interesting way of playing this out. I think with the Broken Lords we did expansion, whereas in this one I want to go for science victory, which is interesting considering we don't get science. But there we go. I think that's probably the best way to play them. That's what I've sort of worked out by the way that they look. The fact that you can put your hero in other settlements and then steal technology and so on. So that basically gives you a boost right there. Now we could settle just here, buy this extra food, but I think over here in this other province or region is a good idea. Let's just get this guy split off and have a look in the opposite direction. We found the Goran. Now we already found whoever these guys are. I can't even remember. The Urses. But that popped up just before the campaign started. And I'd already closed that before I started recording. But there we go. So yeah, this assassin, there's not really too much down there. I think we're going to head up here. I think we'll risk it for a biscuit and settle in that location just there on top of whatever this is called. Titanium, I think it is. So there we go. We have founded that settlement, and we shall get the Founders Memorial as our first building. The other thing I want to do is go into my research, and I think what we're going to do first is get cultivation, because that gives us extra food and will allow us to boost our population very quickly early on. I think this gold ring around it also is like recommended as well. So it looks like it's recommending that to us anyway. And we can actually just get that straight away, but I'm not going to yet. I'm going to research that after the Founders Memorial is finished, just in case we need the dust for something else. Right, so let's move on to the next turn. Everything's done. And we have our faction quest upon us. So, Aftermath of Ambush. My dreams are still haunted by the night we lost my friend, my rock, the previous leader of the Warfarer's divinity, Master Shadow, Zaima Adya. They came upon us not 3 days out from the Targadian mountains, shadowy figures in the night. At first we thought them simple bandits preying on hapless travellers, desperate rogues who'd made a fatal mistake in selecting their victims. We imagined we would kill them easily enough, but we were wrong. Had Arla not been left behind, sick with fever, we may have mastered them. But in our arrogance, we underestimated them. Zaima battled formidably, saving many of our lives, but that only aided our attackers' true intentions. They wanted not to rob us or kill us, but to steal away Zaima herself. And they succeeded. And it wasn't only her they took. Some of my most experienced warriors also vanished that night. In the aftermath, stranded in the Oregon wilds, bloodied and exposed, there was little we could do except carry on with our original plan, without Zaima or the others. Every day the same questions burned in my mind. Who kidnapped Zaima? Did one of our party betray our intentions to the spineless trinity who rule the Forgotten in Dagari Tanga, the fearful High Consecrate, and the feeble masters of the divinities? Those rulers who have forgotten our motto, we are the power in the shadows. Or was she taken by some other enemy who escapes my attentions? The questions burn. The one that burns the most, though, is this. Where is she now? Before we settled Vikal, all I could do was seethe and agitate. Now I can begin to get answers. Now I will do everything in my power to find Zaima, and have my vengeance on those who stole her away. So I love the narrative that comes with Endless Legend. I think it's awesome, and that is very cool. The summary is our plan to rebuild a new forgotten civilization has started badly. Of your two most powerful allies, Arla never made the journey, and Zaima has been kidnapped by unknown forces. Locate her. And our objective is a Dorgeshi village in the nearby region of Tarial knows something of Zaima's kidnap. Pacify the village and learn more. It doesn't tell us where Tarial is, which is quite annoying, but we shall have to go and search for that sooner than later to continue our faction quest. But let's first search this ruin. 30 dust, that's not too shabby. And what I'm probably going to do is sort of skirt up to the top left here, maybe, or maybe go down in the opposite direction. I think finding the top of the map first would be a good idea, and then we can sort of sweep across with our exploration and go all the way around the globe. I want to get to this temple ruin, so let's head over there. And we have discovered the natives of this region, which is the Jotus. Okay, so we're going to end the turn again. We've encountered the Nidya. Now I actually haven't looked at what my units can do. So if we manage my units, let's see. Stealth. Can become invisible on any tile if all units of the army have this ability. Invisibility doesn't work against adjacent army or unit. Okay, so that's a world effect. That means that on the map, our units are invisible. That's pretty cool. I guess that kind of makes it easier for us to pillage, as long as there isn't any armies next to us. We can pass through opponent units. That's pretty cool. And the dual wield thing. Yeah, most of the units in the Forgotten dual wield, including the heroes. Right, let's travel up to this temple ruin We can search that this turn. 40 dust. Not too shabby. So basically, as long as I don't go next to an enemy settlement or other armies, we can pretty much travel unseen across the entire world, which is really useful. And that will allow us to collect many of these ruins. Now let's travel upwards to check out this province up here. Ooh, look at that. 2 more ruins for us to explore. 1 turn until the Founder's Memorial is complete. 30 dust from that ruin. So we're on 175. We may as well speed up our first technology, which is cultivation. This way what we can do is add that to the queue now. So seed storage will come second, and then that will boost our production of population. Then we can maybe go for another settler early on by moving all of our population to production. And I think that might be a good idea. But so far so good. Haven't bumped into any enemy factions yet. We are playing with 7 other players, all AI. So I'm surprised that none border us, but I guess that's more of a good thing than a bad thing. It means that we don't have to deal with any aggressive factions early on. And lust for loot. Where do we have to go? Over there. Okay, what I'm going to do is actually take my assassin over there, unless I have to use a hero-led army. Yes, I do, but I can just assign my hero to that army once it's over there. Okay, let's get this hero to move on. Search that. 40 dust. Getting a lot of dust. Awesome. So dust's just really helpful in general for us to get more technologies really quickly. And let's just go into the technologies again. Dust sense. 100% pillage on Empire. So pillaging is something that we should really sort of focus on. So I'm actually going to get that ability. Then we'll move on to Empire Mint. Won't research that just yet though. But maybe what I can do is pillage like these settlements here. So let's see. Your army must be adjacent to an opponent regional building in order for the action to be available. So no, you can't do it to neutral factions. I guess it's only to enemy factions then. We'll have to take advantage of our Cold War period. Because everyone in the game starts on Cold War, which is kind of like you can attack people in your own lands. Let's assign the hero. And then do that. So we got 15 wine. We can actually search that again to get 30 dust. And we shall travel down to the ruin down there. This army can continue on the top side. So we've explored quite a lot. I'm kind of looking for a second province to settle now, and so far there aren't many good choices. The only good one that I can think of is here in all of this forest, because it gives us a lot of production and food, and also there's lots of rivers here which will give us a lot of dust once we get the dust dredgers. So we've leveled up our hero. As the Forgotten, over time your heroes gain experience, and they gain double experience if they're infiltrated, so that's one way to level up your heroes as opposed to just like fighting with them on the in battles and so on, or from having them as governors. So I think what we're going to do is maybe go for managed torpor. I think getting Sang-Froid is useful. Also the double or nothing to get the seniority bonus is really useful for infiltrating enemy settlements. Now this Ghost Force, I think because all of the Forgotten units have stealth by default, this only affects other units, so neutral faction units that you incorporate into your army. So we don't necessarily need that. Unless it gives us stealth in the battle, but I'm not too sure. You guys are going to have to help me out with some of the stuff in this playthrough, because, like I said, I haven't played this game in ages, and I'm not entirely sure of a lot of the new mechanics. So you're going to have to bear with me. But let's see what else there is that we can get. So it looks like this class tree here is more like defensive. We get extra life and defense. Faction is like gives us extra bonuses for our attack and also for infiltration, and common is like for giving our cities more benefits by having a hero as a governor. So I think we're going to go down faction. And I think that's everything done, so let's move on to the next turn. And it might be worth having a population help speed up the seed storage. Let's turn off the tile output as well. I know that can get annoying. Why is that like that? Oh, this is Tariel. Oh, okay. Okay, so what we're going to do before we finish the side quest, or go for that side quest, I'm actually going to continue my faction quest. Although actually, the side quest's on a sort of timer, so I think we'll just continue that for now. Maybe if I separate my assassin and move it up to this army here, and then what I can do is just assign my hero to this army in a few turns. And also that works out because I did just get the skill that reduces assignment cooldown on heroes, so that's pretty good. So yeah, before we move them, let's split off the assassin if we can, or can we not? And the only reason I could do that before was because I was accompanying a settler, I believe. Oh well. So there's a ruin here, but we don't really have time to stop by. We're going to continue exploring to the top left here. Oh, that's a nice place for a settlement. 3 anomalies right next to each other, although it looks like some of them give science, or all of them give science, which we can't use. So the seed storage is complete. I think I might get the husbandry center here as well, because that will give us extra food per population on city. Although it's only going to take 7 turns to get a settler. So let's build a settler and move all of my population to production. So that will take 4 turns, then we can move them all back to food and get more population. Okay, so we're going to just continue to move on. We found a ruin up here. $30 dust. Oh, there's another one just there as well. Let's search this. We get 15 spices. And the next one gives us 15 gold, which is all the way up here. But that's good because we can just switch our hero up there again. 5 titanium from searching that again. Now we can switch our hero up here. And we can go search that unspoiled ruin. This is like kind of cheating in a way, but it's just using the mechanics of the game. I guess it's not really cheating. Let's see what we can do about technologies here. We will get the Empire Mint now. And what else is a good idea? The mill foundry, of course, to get the extra production. So let's search that ruin. We've got 15 gold. Next one will give us titanium and glass steel. Not sure if we'll get there in time. But we have just discovered... that's actually quite nice. We just discovered the Sisters of Mercy. And by having them as an assimilated faction, they give us, I think it's plus 5% health regen per village incorporated. And that will be really useful because we can no longer fix our units or get them to full health with dust like we could when we played as the Broken Lords. So our settler is nearly complete. I think what we'll do then is get our next place down here in Orm, our next city, and then we will get another settler to come down to Galarath so that we can assimilate the Sisters of Mercy. Now the other thing we need to do is pacify the Jota settlements in Vakal. So it might be worth us getting more military units. As dust gives, dust takes. Interesting quest. You can read that if you like. A summary is: a sick Nidja can be saved by exploiting anomalies, integrating them into your cities. So the first step is to heal the Nidja naturally using magics evolving on Auriga. Build over a total of 3 anomalies in your empire. That shouldn't be too hard, considering we've just got another settler. Or we will have in the next turn, and then we can cover a couple new anomalies. Then, actually, after the settler, let's get the husbandry centre. Then I will switch all of my population back over to food. Okay. Looks like we've reached water on this left side. So we're going to go downward a little. And let's get my settler out of there. New army. Travel down to Orm. So we're doing really well, I think, so far. What is our score like? Oh, it looks like we're actually almost last in score, which is not ideal. We need a hero, so let's get her again to change army. And we got all of the rewards from that quest. Nice. Empty location, though. Well, after all of those free resources, I think that's fine. Our hero has leveled up again. Let's now go for double or nothing for when we find enemy settlements to infiltrate. And again, more water, so let's now travel downward. I'm going to explore this ruin just here. 5 titanium. And there's another one just there as well. And then we will travel sort of upwards, diagonally. And it seems we found another ruin, more dust. Just this exploration is just crazy. We're finding so much dust. Right, let's search this ruin. And again, more dust. I think maybe it's because we're the Forgotten, we get sort of guaranteed dust almost from a lot of these temple ruins, or maybe I'm just getting lucky. I'm not entirely sure. But we still haven't found another faction, which is kind of worrying. But let's settle that new region. And again, we will start by building the seed storage, so we can boost our population. That will take only 5 turns if I put my population into production. And we have built over 3 anomalies, so that gives us 40 dust. And the next one is to produce 64 dust per turn in one of our cities, 5 turns, and that will give us 15 gold. Actually, let's have a look at what resources we have. Let's use some of these. Look at that, plus 50% food on cities from spices. That's very useful. And in terms of our approval, we could also use the spices, because that makes us fervent. And then the gold as well. There we go. Look at that. Lovely boosters. Should have been using them sooner than later, really. Let's search that ruin. One of the roaming armies in Hamara has the treasure that you seek. Find the army, defeat it, and make the booty yours. 15 titanium. Yeah, that's not what I want to do right now with only 1 unit. And it seems we've bumped into the necrophage, which is not ideal because they are probably the most aggressive faction that we could have bumped into. And we're on 405 dust, so let's advance and get the Predator. Then what else shall we go for? Maybe the military science would be a good idea in case we get attacked by the necrophages early on. But the aqua pulvistics is another nice one we could use, and also the sewer system there. So let's actually advance and get aqua pulvistics, and then we can go for sewer system after that. So our priority really is to get like dust buildings. But everything's looking good so far, I think. I think we're making the right choices, but unfortunately it has been my time, so I am going to have to leave this here. We are getting our population boosted very early on in this game, I think. As soon as the husbandry centre is finished here, what I'm going to do is switch all this population to food. Same in Orm once the seed storage is finished. And everything should grow really, really fast. And we can build another settler, maybe get a 3rd settlement in Galarath sooner than later. And yeah, I think that's a good choice. So that's all for now, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Goodbye.